on women's health. It is an important day to recognize that women and girls and gender expansive persons have a right to health, and that when we talk about the right to health, it encompasses making sure that we have progressive legal and policy frameworks that address access to sexual and reproductive health and rights. I mean, the theme for this particular International Women's Health Day for 2022 talks about how SRHR is essential. One of the things that happened during COVID-19 is we realized that governments did not prioritize sexual and reproductive health and rights. They did not make SRHR services essential. It wasn't considered an emergency. It wasn't considered a crisis. Knowing that on the African continent, at least 2/3 of the illnesses women face is because of sexual and reproductive health problems. Knowing that in a country like Uganda, we have over 300 women who die from maternal mortality. We know that a significant number of that is due to unsafe abortions. We know that a significant number of that is because of unwanted pregnancies. And we know that at the last count, 25%, teenage pregnancies were at 25%. We know because of COVID, it's increased. And we know we saw over 300,000 teenage pregnancies reported. So when we're talking about sexual and reproductive health and rights, we're talking about how do we put women and girls and gender non-binary persons at the center of our conversations around health. How do we ensure that when we talk about sexual and reproductive health and rights, we don't only talk about maternal health, we talk about access to information and services, we talk about prevention. We look at Uganda where the median age is 15. So the average Ugandan is a 15-year-old girl. So when we look at our policies, when we look at our laws, when we look at what we prioritize in our health budget, does it address the concerns and the issues that faces a 15-year-old girl? And so as we talk about International Women's Health Day, it's enough of lip service from our governments. It really is. It's time for them to put their money where their mouth is, to be able to make sure that women and girls in all of their diversities across Uganda have access to health, that they're not locked out of health systems because they can't afford it, or because of who they are, their gender and sexual orientation, because of where they live, either in refugee camps, because of their age, because they're below the age of 18. That we should actually look at it and say we want young people to have access to sexuality education. All of these things are really critical. And more than that, we want to make sure that women and girls have access to decent work, and that we look at the role that unpaired care work do in them being able to access services and them being able to rest. That we look at women and girls in their totality, and that we make sure that their overall health and well-being is centered, and that we continue to remember that sexual and reproductive health and rights is essential. That's the only way we can recognize that women's health matters.